Okay, we're going to talk about understanding the problem. Now, there's a saying that's attributed to Einstein, and Einstein says, if I had 1 hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes trying to understand the problem, or understanding the problem, and 5 minutes solving it. Now, you might think to yourself, gee, Einstein, you're really cutting it pretty fine. You have to solve a problem in an hour. You're only going to spend 5 minutes actually solving it. But Einstein is correct. That is the correct ratio between understanding, seeking understanding, and solving. If you don't understand the problem, you're not going to solve it. And the truth is, the solving it emerges from the understanding. Now, what we see from all of the problem-solving research is that those two are swapped. People spend about 5 minutes understanding the problem and 55 minutes trying things, wandering around back and forward, blah, 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 all of that, and then are not successful. So that's the ratio. So what we find is that people don't spend enough time trying to understand the problem. Now, understanding the problem is really easy. So when we're talking about learners who, perhaps because of apprehension, nervousness, anxiety, are unsure about making that next step, this is good for them. And also for learners who, because of a lack of clarity, they don't know what to do, so they don't take a step. This is the first step that they can take, that anybody can take. And the whole idea is that if it was a written problem, for example, you'd read and reread, and then you'd say it in your own words. Or if it was a problem that was just in the world, you would state the problem in your own words. And the reason is that when you think in your head, often your thoughts brush over the little details, but saying it, turning it into language, forces you to articulate those little details, and it becomes clear to you what's missing. So it's almost like you're throwing your thoughts onto a board, and then you can look at them and evaluate them. So we highly recommend talking out loud, saying things. And the ultimate test for you and your learners is, can you explain the problem to a child, to a small child, so the child understands? You should know the problem well enough that you can simplify it, say it in the most simple way to yourself. And what the truth is as you're doing this in your brain is putting all the bits together. And remember, we're trying to start that engine. Your brain will work on a solution for you. So turning it into language is the first thing. Now, in terms of strategies, here's just some basic ones. There's lots, but here are some basic ones. If you're looking at a problem and you don't know what to do, the first thing to do is to find all the things you know. What do I know for sure? I know this, 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 and this for sure. And you just state them again. So that's step one, the easiest thing. What do I know? And you say it. And remember, that's going to start a little cascade of thoughts that are going to keep you engaged. Second thing, what don't I know? What are the bits that I don't know? And what tends to happen here is that people say, well, I don't know how to do the particular problem. But within that problem, they do know a few things. And when they say it aloud and they investigate it a bit more, it turns out that the problem itself is actually just a very small part of that. And it actually hinges on one little bit. So identifying what you don't know and then thinking more and exploring that more, another good option. Nice, safe options. Another good thing to do is to draw a picture, sketch it out, draw a picture of it, and then zoom in, draw another picture zoomed in on a particular bit with more detail. And the fourth strategy, like another really easy strategy, is to draw a different diagram, a different representation. So what we've seen in the research is drawing a picture and then drawing an entirely different type of picture just gives your brain more ways to look at this problem. And so coming to understand the problem is doing those kinds of activities, safe activities, they're hands off, you're not rushing in and doing anything, but you're spending your time gaining and understanding. The theory is that creates a cascade of thoughts which will lead straight into your plan. How am I going to solve this? Now, just to give you an example, we looked a little bit at the farmer and the fence problem. The problem is the farmer has 120 meters of electric fence, one of those roll-out ones that you can put round with the stakes in any shape and set a little battery that electrifies it. So you can make a fence that keeps the cows in. Now, the farmer has 120 meters and wants to create the biggest paddock he or she can for those cows. Now, if you're trying to understand the problem, you might be thinking, what's the bloomin' problem anyway? Like, I don't understand. Just make any sort of circle so they can't get out and it should be okay. But then you might think to yourself, hang on, even though the outside of the fence measurement always stays the same, 120 meters, does that mean that the actual paddock can change size? Like, I just thought the paddock would always be the same size if the fence was the same. But then you might be like, let's explore that. I'll draw a quick sketch, you know, and I'll make the sides really long and the other sides thin, and I'll work out what the area is. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm going to have to measure the size of the paddock in square meters. I guess that's what I'll be doing, square meters. And I'll be measuring the outside in meters. And then that will lead you to a plan. And your plan might be, I'm going to draw long, thin rectangles, you know, with a perimeter of 120 meters and work out the area and slowly make them fatter and fatter, and then see if there's a difference in the square area of those paddocks. And then I should be able to work out a pattern and do something with that. That is how understanding will lead to a particular plan, and then you'll carry out your plan and so on. So just to sum this up, the safe step for any learner, if they're hesitant to take a first step, is just to gain more understanding, gain more information, talk to yourself, clarify it in your mind so that you can explain it to a child.